Jazzy Jeff that you can go and watch and read alongside what I'm sharing with you now. But the important thing about today, if you're with us live, is that you can ask questions. And if you're not with us live, you can ask questions underneath and my team will get to you. But the difference between this and just watching a YouTuber talking about these units is that at the end we're going to have a real live genuine question and answer session. So any questions you have about these are very likely to be asked by one of our community of DJs at the end of this video. So first half we'll talk through the features and functions. Second half we will just have a live open house Q&A. So a lot of value coming your way today. As ever, if you enjoy this, do subscribe to the channel. You get a free copy of our book, Rock the Dance Floor, the bestseller on Amazon, and do take a look at our DJ courses, including the one with Jazzy Jeff that I was just talking about. But it all starts by you going to digitaldjtips.com/join, getting the free book, getting the free gear guide, and becoming our latest member. Okay, so just to check that we are live and ready. Yes, we are. I can see everything going fine over there. Let's get started. Let's talk through these two units. So to start with, what are they? Well, these are high-end 2-channel DJ controllers for Serato DJ Pro software. Now they both have 7-inch motorized jog wheels. They both have effects paddles for controlling the effects. And so this makes them especially suitable for scratch DJs, battle DJs, performance DJs, DJs who want the vinyl and scratch feel on both their mixer, because it's a 2-channel scratch mixer on both, and their decks. That's what you're getting here. And there's a lot of similarities between these two units. They both have dual laptop support. You can switch both units to use 2 laptops at once for playing back to back, for easy switchovers of DJs and so on. They both have standalone mixer capability. You can plug in record decks, you can plug in CD, J players, you can plug in auxiliary inputs and run them through your mixers without having a software and laptop plugged in at all. Of course, they both have motorized jog wheels. And they're both fully featured Serato units. There's nothing held back here. They're for Serato DJ software. You use them with a laptop. They've got the full Serato effects, the full Serato pad control. So they've got an awful lot in common for sure. However, there's a lot of things that are different about these two units, about the Pioneer DDJ-REV7 and the Rane One. And these are the things that you're going to be wanting to consider if you're in the market for buying one of these. So now we've talked about what's the same about them. We're going to talk about the main differences. Then we're going to talk about the extra features on the REV7 over the Rane One, because it does have extra features which befits the higher price point. So you can decide if some of those features are what you are going to be worth the extra money for you. And finally, we'll talk about some other minor differences on these two units before handing over to you and getting your questions about them. I mean, I say at the very beginning, we've got reviews of these. We've got video reviews, written reviews. We've given them both 5 out of 5. They're both fantastic units, but there are differences. Now, one difference right at the very beginning when you plug these things in is that the Rane One has got a proper power supply, a big chunky power supply, and the transformer on board. It's just a lead that goes off to the wall. The REV7 has got a power brick and it transforms from your AC current down into 24-volt DC and plugs in the back with a piddly little cable that plugs in the back of the REV7. So there's a 1 tick to start with for the Rane One there. They should have put the transformer on board with the Pioneer unit. Instead, they didn't. Instead, they put this little cheap little thing here. You know, what if you lose the transformer? You want one of these for sure. So there's a mark there for the Rane One. It's a lot more professional the way they've done it on the Rane One. But once you've got it plugged in and working, of course, that's when the fun begins, and that's when we start to see the differences. So let's start talking about the differences between these two units. The biggest initial thing you're going to notice is the difference in layout between them. So the REV7, the Pioneer unit, has got battle layout. Now, battle layout is when you take a turntable and you turn it 90 degrees. It's what scratch DJs do. And that gives you the pitch fader, the pitch control at the top here. And that's where they put it now. Purists will say, well, actually, it should be there because it's down here on the normal one. Yeah. But basically, it's up at the top here. And that's different to where the pitch control is on the Rane One, because here it's in a more standard layout for both controllers and decks down here. So Apart from that, the REV7 has got a full-sized scratch mixer. This is the same size as a Pioneer DJM S9 or S7 mixer, and the same layout as that kind of mixer. The Rane One has got a much narrower, albeit familiar feeling to Rane users, shrunk little mixer down in the middle here. Overall then, that means that the Rane One is deeper and chunkier. See, it's got big feet on the bottom. It's deeper and chunkier, but it's squatter, it's not as big. Overall, it's just not as big a unit. And you can see that there, it's just smaller. They're both heavy, you know, don't get me wrong, you're not going to be waltzing around. I carried this one into the studio today under one arm and I can feel it. They're both heavy units, but this one is a lot flatter, a lot shallower, a lot deeper. Well, flatter, shallower and deeper, I wouldn't say a lot. It's a tiny bit bigger than a DDJ-1000, this top one, by the way. This one's just got a squatter, more compact feel to it because of the way the controls are laid out. Some might say more cluttered feel to it, but it's certainly got a more compact feel to it. And so that's the overall layout. What about the jog wheels? Well, the jog wheels are actually pretty similar. They're both 7 inches. They've both got the kind of strobe lights around the outside, which are traditionally used on turntables with a little extra light to see whether you're exactly on the pitch 33 or 45 or whether you're a bit faster or a bit slower. The lights kind of give it an illusion of moving round slowly in one direction or the other, depending. But these are the traditional feel when you're touching the edge of your turntables. They've both got that. They've both got like pretend vinyl on top that slips around like this. So there's a lot of similarities between the jog wheels. However, the Rane ones are more traditional. Sorry, the Rane one here, the more traditional. This has got a proper piece of vinyl on the top of it that comes off like that. It's just a real, I mean, it's not real vinyl, it's kind of acrylic stuff. And it's got a real slip mat underneath. That is a real, albeit shrunken, slip mat. So this feels, and this comes off, and it feels just like taking a Technics turntable apart. And once you've clipped this into place, this has got a little clip on it that clips into place. I can never get it in. Certainly when I'm live, I can never get this to clip in again. So we'll do that again later, but that clips into there. And then that gives you control over the, there you go, it clipped in then. It gives you control over the Serato waveform while this spins around underneath. Now these, it does the same thing. You've still got the vinyl control on the top. You've still got the turntable turning underneath, but this is slightly different the way it works. This one here has got little clips that clip into the bottom here, and then this comes out. You get 2 of these little, I don't know what they call them, they have got a name for them, I don't recall it now. These kind of like slip rings that sit on here. As I say, there's 2 of them on there, but you can put more or less, you can replace them with what you want. And this has got a see-through bit in the middle, which means that you can see the in-jog display that's going on in there. And that's another big difference between this and the other Rane One, is that this has got an in-jog display on its top. There we go, let's click back into there now. So they feel the same, they are a little bit different. And you might prefer this one because it's got a flat surface and this one's got this thing in the middle, and on a small 7-inch turntable might make the difference to you. So that's the jog wheels. Now, if you've just joined us, we're talking about the differences between the Pioneer DJ REV7 and the Rane One, and we are going through the major differences, and then we're going to look at some other bits and pieces, and at the end we're going to have a Q&A. So if you've got questions about this, please use the hashtag ASK. Please only ask your question once, no cut and pasting. And if you are watching the recording of this, there's absolutely no problem. Ask your question underneath and my team and I will get to you anyway, so you're not missing out on anything. So let's get back to the units then. We are looking at the main differences at the moment. We've already looked at the layout differences and we've looked at the differences in the jog wheels. There's differences in the mic and auxiliary inputs on these as well. So I'll just tell you about these because I can't really pick them up to show you, but there's not really an awful lot to show you. Basically, on the REV7, there are 2 volume controls. So there's 1 volume control for each of your mic. They've both got 2 microphone inputs, 2 volume controls, but only 1 set of EQ controls. So that controls the bass and treble for both mics at once. And also, the REV7's got an echo control, so you've got an echo effect on the mic. Down here on the Rane One, the mic inputs have got 2 volume controls and 2 sets of EQs. So that means that you've got separate EQ, bass and treble, low and high, over both mics, as opposed to having them ganged together on there. Other differences, this has got a talk over on the Rev 1, the Rev 7. The Rane One hasn't got talk over for the microphone. The Rane One hasn't got any effects. I said this has got an echo, this hasn't got an echo. But the Rane One, the second microphone input, is also an auxiliary input. Now, the REV7 has got a separate auxiliary input, a very, very basic one. It's just got a volume control on it, but it's got a separate auxiliary input. On this one, on the Rane One, the auxiliary input is switchable to the second microphone. So you may or may not like that. One of the advantages of that is it gives you low and high EQ controls on the auxiliary input. There's absolutely no EQ controls on the auxiliary input up here at all. Another difference is that the REV7 has got attenuators for the microphones. You plug the mics in around the back and it's got attenuators. They're basically like little gain or level controls for the mics before it reaches the main controls. By the way, the mic controls along with the crossfader controls are on the front of both units. I'm not going to show it to you today, but they're on the front of both units. So there's some notable differences for the microphones, especially useful to know that if you are a mobile DJ and you need extra gains, extra bass and treble, or maybe you use an MC who likes to have a bit of echo, or maybe you like talk over, you know, so it's worth knowing the differences between these things. So we've talked about Jog Wheels layout, we've talked about the microphone inputs. The other big main difference I want to talk about here is the faders. So I say a big main difference, it will certainly make a difference to scratch DJs for whom this is an important factor. So the Rane One and the REV7 both have adjustable faders. They've both got very, very, very high-end, nice cross faders, very buttery, very nice. Nothing to pick between them. However, in the REV7, there's a control around the front to adjust how much tension is in this fader. In this one, you need to take these screws out and lift this off, and then you do it underneath. It's quite easy to do, but there is a difference there. Now, while both of these have got reverse and contour and curve adjust tension controls, the REV7 has got individual up fader curve controls, whereas the other one, the REV1, has got one control for both. So you can basically control the curves on the up faders, but it's just got one control for both. But you do get separate reverse controls for each of them as well. I said tension, then I didn't mean tension, I meant contour and curve adjust. So they're ganged on the Rane One, they're separated on the REV7. Not really a big thing. I think most people would want the same curve on both of these, but just to know that, again, it's something that you might find is important to you. And of course, we have now got to move on to all the other stuff, because there's a lot more than the big things I've just talked about now. So we're going to move on now, having looked at what these are and the main similarities and the main differences. Now let's talk about all those little differences, all those little details which are going to sway your decision one way or another between the REV7 and the Rane One. So now I want to talk about what the REV7 brings to the table that the Rane One doesn't have. This costs $400 or $500 more than this. So you'd expect this to have more on it, and indeed it does. It has extra features you don't find on this one. So it has features that have come across from the DJI-MS mixers to start with. It's got smooth echo, which is a way of having an echo kick in when you stop playing a routine to save you having to go up here and quickly find the echo effect. Something that DJs have loved on the standalone mixers. It's now here on a controller for the very first time. It's got silent cue, which will pause the track until you hit a cue point. Again, this is something that's come across from other Pioneer gear, and it's going to be very welcome to a lot of DJs on here. It's got a brand new instant scratch feature. Now, we demo this in our review video. An instant scratch kicks in scratch loops and sounds on these 4 buttons that you can trigger and then scratch with on both decks. So you can have a scratch loop on this one, be scratching with some scratch sounds on here without even plugging it into a computer. You can just turn it on and practice your scratching. Again, a brand new feature anywhere. It's not appeared on anything else. But also, because of that, because you've got your 4 scratch sounds and your button here for this, these can be used as 4 extra Serato pads as well. You can have hot cues, saved loops, you have your scratch bank and your sampler from Serato, and the first 4 settings on the main pads can be put on here. So that means that you could have like your 4 favorite hot cues or your 4 favorite samples permanently set up here, while your 8 pads are set to something different down here. And because you can't have the combi scratch mode on here, sorry, the combi pad mode. So in the old, on some Pioneer gear, you can press 2 buttons at once and get like the hot cues at the top and the rolls at the bottom. You can't do that on here. It doesn't really matter because you've got the extra pads up here. This is something that you don't get on the Rane One at all. Other extra features on the REV7, and the big one I want to point out is that this has got 22 Pioneer DJ hardware beat effects built into it. So whereas on the Rane One, you've got control over the 6 effects areas on the Serato software, 3 for each deck, Here, you've got 22 Pioneer effects switchable over these 6 buttons, and you also have the software effects, because by holding down Shift and pressing one of these buttons, you can have the software effects just like the Rane One. So you're getting something completely new and extra here. And then finally, of course, the jog wheels. You've got jog wheel displays in the middle on both of these. They're not turned on at the moment. They are, of course, turned on in our full review, which we will let you know about afterwards. But you can have the Serato waveforms showing across both of these. You can have your artwork, your DJ logo, you can have Serato's kind of deck view where you've got the time elapsed and you've got the time remaining and lots of other information showing on these. That just doesn't appear on here. There's nothing on here. And an extra tiny little screen for your effects up here, again, doesn't appear down here on the Rane unit. So there are extra things going on the REV7 that you don't get. Was I on this overhead? Was I on me all the time then? If I was, you missed a lot of that. Right, so I was talking about the instant scratch. They were there. Sorry, I'll just recap it if I was. You've got instant scratch here with these extra buttons, and you've got the jog wheels here, and you've also got smooth echo and the extra features from the mixer on here, including silent cue. So I'm not sure if I was on me looking down at this very annoyingly all the time there for a minute or two, or whether actually we had the overhead view on. If it was me, I do apologise. That is live video for you. So that definitely isn't me. Here I am. Right, okay, so they are the extra features you get on the REV7 that you don't get on the Rane One for your extra 400 or 500. There are other differences as well. So before we go over to you and before we talk about the Rane One versus the REV7, let's just cover off some of the other differences. And this isn't complete, but it is a lot of the stuff that's different between them. So the REV7 doesn't have a temporary cue button. There's no cue button down by the start and stop at all. So you can't quickly set a temporary cue at the beginning of the track. Over here on the Rane One, it does have a temporary cue button for each deck. The Rane One lets you turn off the motor if you want. It's easy to turn off the motor and just use these as normal jog wheels. Over here on the REV7, as far as we can tell, there's no way of turning the motor off. When you're using this, the motor is turned on. So if you want to get used to using motorised jogs and sometimes turn them off, well, you can't do that on the REV7. Other tiny things, the REV7 has got TRS booth outputs back here. This has got XLR booth outputs. These are small things, but there is a difference there. The Rane One has got touch strips here for scrubbing between your tracks. It's easy enough to scrub between your tracks on here. You hold down Shift and you turn the jog wheel, but there's no touch strips. So if you're a touch strip fan, you like that, you're only going to find that on the Rane One. And finally, and just to come back to this, because it is something that people forget, the Rane One is $400 or $500 less than the REV7. So those extra features, you are paying the money for them. So the question really is going to be, do you want them? How much do you value the battle layout and the scratch mixer over the slightly less standard for a scratch DJ look and feel of the Rane One? Is the size thing going to matter to you? Because the Rane One is smaller, albeit they're both quite heavy, and the Rane One is kind of higher. You might like that. The Rane One's got feet on the bottom, you see, and you don't get that on the REV7. They're both fantastic. They're both 5 out of 5 units on our website. We think they're both great. You know, you're not going to go wrong with either of these. You're going to have a great DJing experience on them. But there are big differences, and the point of today's live lesson has been to talk you through some of those. Right. Now we're going to go over and spend the rest of our time together today talking about this. I know you're going to have questions, so I'm going to spend some time now at the end of this talking through the differences. But if you want to go and learn more about these, you don't want to listen to the questions, listen to what people have got to say about these things, then head over and look at our reviews. They're all on the website, and I'll show you now where you can find extra information about these units before we chat together about them. So you head over to the Digital DJ Tips website and you will find on the website, if you just head to the reviews section to start with, you'll find all our reviews here, and here are the REV7 and the REV1 reviews. Also, you will find on the Digital DJ Tips website, and the easiest way of doing this is to go to the search bar and just type Jazzy Jeff. You will find DJ Jazzy Jeff's sets on these, And actually, they're not there yet. This is all very new content. The easiest way to get to DJ Jazzy Jeff's sets, just to give you a little heads up then, is to go to the reviews. If you go to the reviews and find the review of the unit you want to see Jeff demoing, like the REV7, then there is a embed in the main review where you'll see Jeff demoing the unit and giving us a mix and showing you what it can do. So scroll down, it's all useful information anywhere on the units here, and somewhere towards the bottom you'll find an embed. There it is, the Jazzy Jeff demo over on YouTube, and you and 65,000 other people already since we put this live 5 days ago will have watched that. It's a wonderful demo, so do go and take a look at that. So we've got 2 demos there as well. Right, okay, so that is our planned content today. Let's now just talk about this unit together and see what you've got to say. Hashtag ask, hashtag ASK if you want to ask a question. So is are Pioneer going to release a REV10? Or is that just a rumour? I personally think that's just a rumour, but who knows, maybe they will, which would obviously have 10-inch jog wheels. I mean, that is quite big. This is quite a big unit we're looking at here at the top. It's a REV10. Do you remember the when you tried to put 2 turntables? Some people will be old enough to remember this. When you tried to put 2 turntables and a mixer in a coffin case back in the day, you know, if you put a REV10 with 10-inch platters, you're starting to get quite close to that. And you just couldn't carry those things around. They just were too cumbersome. So I don't think a REV10 will be coming, to be sure. DJ Rohan, what platter mechanism do you think will last longest with on-the-road use for jobbing DJs? I was thinking about this question before we went live because I think it's unfair to say. The best I can say is the platters on the Rane One are very, very, very good. The ones on the REV7 are, I'll pull one off for you so you can have a look. So let's pull them over to this camera I was on then. This is what they look like, right? So they've got plastic here and they've got these tabs here. See those? And they clip into the unit itself. There are clips here, here and here. There's 3 clips out of the 4 that they clip into, and that's how it's held in place. Now that said, I've got no idea how long that's going to last. I've no idea if that's going to snap. Obviously you can probably buy new ones of these at some point. I believe that Pioneer DJ will have tested that pretty extensively, but you know, we know the Rane One mechanism. It's the same mechanism that the Newmark has used in the NS7 series, I'm going to guess, because it's from the same company. They're ultra reliable. They always have been with the NS7. I don't see any issue with them. I'd say the Pioneer tech is unproven. You know, there might turn out to be a version 1 issue with it. We just don't know. So right now, the Rane Ones are very reliable. We don't know about the Pioneer unit. It's brand new. Is the honest answer to that. Is the DDJ-REV7, asks Christian, hi Christian, the rightful successor to the DDJ-1000? No, it's not. The DDJ-1000 is a record box controller. I think what Pioneer DJ is doing here is putting clear water between its Serato controllers and its record box controllers. It's saying, okay, you want to go the record box route, that's our software, we dominate clubs, our gear dominates clubs. We'll give you a controller from the DDJ-200 all the way up to the DDJ-1000 that looks and feels like you're using club gear. And then if you want to move on from there, you can get our separates. You can get our CDJ-3000, our DJM-900 mixer. That's what we do, Pioneer DJ all the way. If you're a scratch battle performance DJ, well, Serato is traditionally the software everyone uses in that world. We'll also make some Serato gear. And you can have the REV1, the little REV1. We've got the REV1 here somewhere. It's tucked down the side. Let's get the REV1. Let's give the REV1 a bit of love, even though we're talking about the difference between the REV7 and the Rane One today. Let's get the REV1 out. So the REV1 has still got the pitch faders at the top. It's still got the pads here and the little kind of like DJM mixer layout. So effectively, you can start on a Serato controller that costs you $250. You can end up on one that costs nearly $2,000, and then you can move up and use turntables and a proper DJMS mixer if you want. And that is the Serato route that Pioneer is offering. So I think they're separating those two things. So no, I don't think it's the natural successor to the DDJ-1000. In fact, I'd be sure a DDJ-1000 Mark II will be around the corner at some point. And on that point, Patrick says, one thing that bugs me is there's no support for record box. Do you think they will add it later, or is it exclusive for Serato? most controllers that have been made for Serato by Pioneer DJ also work with Rekordbox, albeit you have to pay subscription for the software. So I suspect they will add it later. I haven't. It's a good question to ask them. I actually will ask that question of them. Making a note now, so I can do that and have an answer at some point for the site. Thank you for that, Patrick. Can you pair an XP2 with a Rane One to compensate some missing features you get with the REV7? Yeah, you can plug Serato accessories controllers in for any Serato device. So yeah, you could do that. How many % are there battle style DJs for Pioneer to implement a battle style controller? Really good question. A small number, I would say, compared to overall DJs, but I think that Serato would rather people saw these controllers as all-round open format party style devices. And so there's obviously more DJs that do that than just a smaller number who do battle DJing. And really, if you're used to using vinyl, you're going to love either of these controllers because it just feels great if you're a vinyl user. I mean, the thing with spinning platters is, and if you're not a vinyl DJ, this isn't going to be something that you're, that would be natural to you. This thing spinning underneath is not doing anything for you because you can still stop the track playing by holding the top. And it's the top jog wheel, it's whether the top jog wheel is going backwards and forwards that controls what people hear. The thing spinning underneath is a byproduct of the vinyl days. But feeling that pull on your hand and feeling that torque and that tension and that momentum is what a lot of DJs like. It's utterly unnecessary. You can scratch just as well on a static controller as you can on one that has something spinning underneath. But it's all about feel. It's all about whether it feels like record decks. And of course, if you play on record decks as well, it's nice to have a controller that feels like what you're used to. Same question from Chino. Do you think the platters are easy to break? We don't know. We suspect Pioneer DJ has checked them to make sure that they will last the test of time. Matty, is the plate separate from the platter on the Pioneer? The platters being permanently on is also a negative for a turntablist. It's an odd design considering the format is obviously aimed at that market. Well, look, it's not permanently on, like it's not spinning all the time. You've got an on-off button here, but you can't have it so that when you hit start, the turntable doesn't turn. That's what I'm saying. So on a normal, if you like, inverted commas, jog wheel, there's no motor. So you press start and the record starts playing without this spinning round. So don't get me wrong, the turntable's not spinning all the time. That would be crazy. But you can't stop the motor working. So for a turntablist, that's probably okay, I would say, because that's how turntables behave. It's more for people who are not used to using moving platters, who might want some kind of training wheels on, really. So if that wasn't clear, I hope it's clear now. Is the plate separate from the platter on the Pioneer? So just one more time on the Pioneer, this is how it works, because it is new, it's something new. You can take the vinyl off there, and then you have these two spinning discs, these two like slip discs here, and then this whole thing moves around. So that's how it works. Nothing else comes off there. They tuck in there, and then this goes on top, tucking back into the holes. And now that I've moved it around, I'm not sure where it goes, so I'll just pop it there like that for the time being and fit it back later on. I'm currently on the SX2 and I've got the DJM-S7 with the Rane 12. I'm torn between the Rane 1 and the REV7. Any advice? I like to scratch, but I'm far from a Jazzy Jeff type. I would go for the REV7 because you've got the same mixer layout that you've got on your turntable setup. That's one of the advantages of these, is that you get the same mixer layout. So that's certainly the one I would go for in your position if it were me, Ray G, for that specific reason. Ashley, great question. My past experience has not been best with Pioneer sound quality. I know it's subjective, but in your opinion, is the sound quality comparable between the REV7 and the Rane 1? We haven't compared them. We think the REV7 sounds great. They put high quality sound, high quality converters in there and stuff. We think it sounds great, but we haven't done a test between the two. And the Rane sounds great as well. So I can't tell you in all honesty the answer to that. If you'd like to ask a question, we've been comparing these two controllers, the Rane 1 and the REV7. We've been comparing them today. If you'd like to ask a question, hashtag ask, and we will try and get to your questions before the end. But you can go back and watch the replay of this as well and get all the training that we did at the beginning. Now we're in the kind of Q&A section at the end here. Thank you for being here. So Sergio, will Pioneer release a controller to compete with the Numark Mix Stream Pro? Got no idea, Sergio. Pablo, does the Rev One work on internal mode or DVS? So it works. It's a very good question. In the software, does it work on internal mode or on DVS? So one thing we should tell you is that we know for certain that the REV7 works fine with DVS because we've tested it. But I can't recall instantly how the Rev One works, the Rane One works. I'm pretty sure it does work on. In fact, it does work on DVS. But you do need to have the club kit upgrade for Serato to have that working. So you can plug turntables in and use them in DVS mode as external, but the unit will work in internal mode with its built-in jogs. So there's no, you don't switch to DVS mode to use those. Can the waveform be removed from the displays and just leaving the marker? Yes, that's another thing I haven't told you about actually, maybe because I haven't turned them on, so it didn't kind of occur to me. Because these have got in-jog displays, you can have a marker on them, that just like the marker here on the overlays. They give you stickers that you can actually stick a physical marker on for scratching, this is. So you've got your markers here, just like you've got them here, but you've also got a sticker you can put on here, but you can also have a marker in the jog. Now the marker in the jog's got a little bit of latency, which is why they give you the sticker option as well. I reckon there's going to be third-party overlays for these that you can buy, take this one off and switch it for a third-party one. So if you want one that's on, and of course you could paint it on yourself, but I think we're going to start seeing third-party accessories for the Pioneer gear soon enough. So DJ Irinu says, does this new Pioneer controller work with SoundSwitch, the light software? Well, Serato works with SoundSwitch, so you'd have to have it running on your laptop as well, and yes, it would work in that respect. Do they have the strobe for the platter side speed? Yes, they do, but they don't have a little pop-up light on it. Does the REV7 have a sampler volume? Because the Rane One doesn't. I don't think it does have a sampler volume. I'm just checking now, but no, I don't think there is a sampler volume. Ah, there is, there it is. Yeah, there is a sampler volume. So yes, there is a sampler volume here. That's something I forgot to put in. Thank you very much for that. I'll add that to our article that will accompany this at some point. So yes, there is a sampler volume there, and you're quite right. There is no sampler volume here. Of course, you've got it on the screen, but yeah, good point. Thank you for pointing that one out. I love you guys and girls. You really help to improve the content because when we write this up for the website, we'll be including these little things. So thank you. Right, okay, so we're going to hang around for a few more minutes longer now. This is the kind of end of the broadcast. We've been here for 45 minutes, so let's just relax about 35 minutes. Let's just relax a little bit and just have a general chat. But if you've got any more questions, chuck them at me now, and in the next 5 to 10 minutes, we will we'll feature them on the end of this broadcast. Hello to everyone who's saying hello. It's also so good to see you all, especially after Christmas. It's only the second one we've done since Christmas. DJ Carlos, they're incredible, but they're not my style of mixing. No, they're not made for everyone, these units. It's important to bear that in mind. They're not made for everyone. Michael says turntables are always better. Well, yeah, Michael, I would say you should have a go on one of these because I think you might be amazed if you haven't used one. I'll tell you one really nice thing about these, actually. They both do this. If you want to start a track, and this your record deck is stopped, your spinning platter is stopped, and you're at the beginning of a track, you're right on a beat, you hit that play button, it will start to spin, but it'll start the track instantly. There won't be a slur start. Same on this one as well. They've programmed them so they work that way. And so that's a nice feature that kind of improves on turntables if you like. So you can just start like that. Ashley says, not standalone, not interested. Well, these are for scratch DJs, and to be fair, most scratch DJs use Serato. So again, they're not all aimed at everyone, these things. They are aimed at certain types of DJs. Anyone want to buy a DDJ-SZ or SZ, says Ray. I've got to get that REV7, so you're obviously sold. But lots of you do want standalone. It would be perfect if standalone, i.e. no equipment attached. And actually, we had a bit of a fun morning. It was raining. This is how all this happened. It was raining. I didn't want to go to the office quite yet, so I was sat at home just looking at all your comments on these new controllers, and a lot of people were saying I wish they would launch a standalone. So we on the website just spent 5 or 10 minutes with a Photoshop banging up a standalone kind of version of this, and we wrote it up and stuck it on the website. Now, funny enough, I can't actually see it on the website now, but it's definitely on the YouTube channel. So on the Digital DJ Tips YouTube channel, head to there, go to videos, and you'll find a video where we said, what if they did a standalone? Here it is. Oh, hello Cloud, hello Terry, how are you my friend? Here it is. And we imagine the jog wheels and the mixer, but with the standalone on top. What a beast this unit would be, eh? What a beast. But of course this is just a guess. That's something they might make in the future. But to be fair, most scratch DJs are happy using Serato. It's one reason they might not make a standalone, because it's just maybe the market research will tell them that while it would be really nice, it's not something that enough people would want. So apparently, as Lex says, I've heard about a part inside the platter of the REV7 that uses for locking the top plate are made from plastic and seem weak. No, they are made from plastic, but no, they don't seem weak. I mean, another big difference is the way they're made. The Rane unit, the whole thing's metal. The Pioneer unit is metal and plastic. It's still made as well as any Pioneer DJ Pro gear, which means to say it works really nicely. It's made really well. It's not going to break, we don't think. But there is that difference in that one of them's all metal and one of them's metal with plasticky bits, if you like. I mean, plastic's not a bad material, let's be honest. It's not like everything plastic is necessarily going to break. It's lighter and it can be combined with metal. I'm not the kind of person that says everything I buy has got to be all metal. You know, that's me. But that might be you, in which case the Rane One is going to be better for you. Yeah, you're hitting the nail on the head here, DJ Sean. I'd say the REV7 and the DDJ-1000 are separated. The DDJ-1000 SRT is the Serato version, of course, are separated in that the 1000 is the better one for club use, for the club style of DJing, and the REV7 is better for performance, party, scratch, open format style DJing. Right, hashtag ask, hashtag ASK if you want to ask a question. We'll do a few more questions before we go. Something has to go to make space. Okay, kids, pack your bags, says Kopi Hagen. So there we go. By the way, if you've got questions which are not related to this, you should know that we do a show every Thursday at 3 p.m. London, 10 a.m. Eastern, where we talk through any questions you've got. So if you've got questions which are not related to this, please come back on Thursday and we will answer them. So Anthony, I'm sure if you've been listening, there is no such thing as a best controller here, a best device here. The one with the most features is the REV7, but you're paying more for them. Do you want that? And it's got its downsides as well, and we've talked about some of those. Thanks for doing this comparison, says C. Samo over on Twitch. Inquiring minds want to know. The pitch controller, the Pioneer controller, was good for those who suffer from labyrinthitis, says Warmere. So thank you very much for that. Sam Tweaks is using the Rane One right now, apparently, so there we go. I'm not a fan of jogs with dots. If there's no strobe light, what's the point? Well, you can still see the effect. It still works. You just have to kind of like, well, they do. They still work. You just kind of look at them a bit funny. Give them the side eye and you can see the strobe effect. But also it's good on the fingers, and also I guess it's a style thing. I mean, they've both gone for it, so it's obviously something that their market research has said is what people want. Interesting, Patrick says, yes, the Rev 1 is the successor to the SB3, the little one, but the Rev 7 is not the successor to the 1000. I think that's probably right, but I think the 1000 is something that is not going to be, it's almost like this is the successor to the 1000, really. So yeah, it's a good point you made there. Right, okay, I think we'll just have one or two more questions before we go. Here's a good one on the layout question. Tony W, the Rane One's right platter is much closer to the fader than the left platter. It looks really off. Pio's fader is dead smack center regarding the platters. The Rane's right platter looks cramped. I mean, it is, but it's just the way the layout works. Because you've got this bit down here, which you don't have here. Here, if this is the deck section, the distances here are the same, right? It goes all the way to the edge of the deck section. Whereas here, you've got this bit down here on both. So that's why this platter is closer to the edge here than this one is. It's just, this does kind of look neater. It's got more space to spread out. And also you've got a proven mixer look in the middle, and then you've got a very clean deck area here. I do think this one looks neater, I would say, and this one does look a bit more cramped. It's a small thing. Some people it will annoy and some people it won't. You know, that's what you get for the difference in the layout. But a good point. Thank you for pointing that one out. And one or two more final questions. Oh, look at that. Wow. I'm back. The main camera at the front here broke. I can't get the power to go on it, so I had to switch to a webcam. So apologies for the weird focus issues going on. Do the internal effects on the REV7 work with the external aux inputs? They don't work with the aux, but they do work with the external. They should. We haven't actually tested them, but they should work with the external. I know you have to pay to play Switzerland, but if you had to take one controller with you for an entire year, could you only use that one piece of equipment? Which one are you scooping up? Well, you have to play Switzerland because that's where the clubs are open. It took me a while to get that, Eric. Which one would I take with me if I had to play with one controller all year, one or the other? Which one would I take with me? Doesn't make any difference to what I've been saying all the way through. They're both good, and I would weigh up personally what I liked and disliked. And looking at them, I'd probably go with the REV7 because I really like the in-jog displays. If someone else was carrying it everywhere for me, though, I might go for the Rane One because it's smaller and easier to carry. It's a close thing. We gave them both 5 out of 5. They are both extremely, extremely good units. Can you talk about the tone play functions on the DDJ-REV7 as they weren't mentioned in your review? Yes, I can. So basically, you've got pitch play here. So you can press shift and hotkey or press hotkey twice and you get pitch play, which lets you go up, 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 down, 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 down from a cue point. So you pick a cue point, set a cue point, and then you can play little melodies and tone play on there. You also have, and I didn't mention this as well, you have key functions here. You can move the key up, 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 down, 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 down. You haven't got that on here. So you have got hardware controls for both pitch play and key. However, you get pitch play on here as well. You've got pitch play. It's not marked on the decal, but you have got pitch play that you can access down here. I think, don't quote me on that. I'm pretty sure you can use pitch play on there as well. But I didn't mention the key control functions at all. So thank you for pulling me up on that one. We'll add that to our written version of this. Thank you for that. To you, Neil. Taito, I know the DDJ SRT, which is a Serato version of the 1000. It's made for Serato. Do you think Pioneer will allow the DDJ 1000 an option to play? Oh, it's a different kind of question. No, I don't, unfortunately. I don't think that will work. Right, so lots of questions which aren't really related to today's topic. So I'm going to end it there, people. Thank you very much for watching. We have been comparing the Pioneer DJ DDJ-REV7 on the top right of your screen with the Rane One on the bottom left of your screen today. Both fantastic things, both 5 out of 5 devices at Digital DJ Tips, but which is best for you? Hopefully I've given you some ideas today if you're choosing between them. This has been Phil in the Digital DJ Tips studio saying get good, get out there, make the moments, and I will see you again very soon for another live broadcast. Until then, goodbye.